Hey there everyone, and welcome to my first guitar tutorial on this channel. After I posted my cover of Only by RAX about 6 months ago, I think it was now, I got a lot of comments and requests asking for a tutorial on how to play it. So yeah, here I am at long last. Hope you guys enjoy. So first things first, before we get into the chords and the melody, we need to make sure that our guitar is tuned into drop C, which is basically the same as drop D. So your E string goes down to a D, your B string goes down to an A, your G and your D string stay as G and D, your A string goes down to a G, but instead of your E going down to a drop D, it goes down to a drop C. So basically just put it down one pitch lower to give it that bass sound, which is what he loves to use in the song. And also need to make sure that your capo is on capo 3. You can move it anywhere along the fretboard if you're singing along to it, anywhere to match your voice. But RAX uses it on capo 3, and to give it a sound like this. Yeah, on to part 1. So part 1 is just the intro to the song, and it's pretty simple, it's just 3 chords. It sounds like this. I'll give you a quick run through. And that will repeat for another bar before we get into the singing part. So throughout the song, RAX uses 3 different chords, both in part 1 and throughout the entirety of the song. The first one is E6 flat add 9. No, sorry, E flat 6 add 9, which essentially means you take your first finger, your index finger, and you put it on the 2nd fret of your D string, and it sounds like this. So that's your first chord. Your second chord is G minor 11, which basically you take your middle, your 4th, and your pinky finger, and you put them on the E string, the A string, and the D string respectively, all on the 4th fret in a row like this. And if you play that together, it will give you this sound. And your final chord is an F sus4 chord, which basically just means you take your index finger and your middle finger onto your E and A string respectively, only onto the bottom 2 strings, and you play it together and it sounds like this. And those 3 chords repeat throughout the entirety of the song, so you're only really going to be switching between those 3. You don't need to worry about anything else or any nasty bar chords that he might put into like he does in Berlin. So it's so to recap, it's E flat 6 add 9, G minor 11, and F sus 4. So those 3 chords are pretty easy to get used to. They're quite simple. But what's kind of interesting about the melody is the strumming pattern. He uses quite a weird one in the song, I guess to capture the haunting feeling of Only. But it goes like this. So you essentially pluck your bottom 3 bass notes. So your E string, your A string, and your D string like this. And straight after that, you'll then strum your top 3 notes, so your higher notes, a total of 4 times in the strumming pattern of down, up, to sound like this. And for your E flat 6 add 9 chord, you're going to repeat that for a total of 4 times. So hitting your bass note 4 times and strumming your high notes a total of 16 times. And make sure when you're strumming, you're hitting your bass note, make sure to put a lot of emphasis in it to really grasp the haunting vibe that he goes for in the song. So your chord will sound like this. And then moving on to your G minor 11 chord, you will do the exact same thing, but you only repeat it for a total of 2 times. So remember to pluck your bass notes and strum your top notes for a total of 4 times in the down, up pattern to sound like this. And then onto your F sus4 chord, you do the exact same thing as you did for your G minor 11 chord, plucking your bottom notes once and strumming your top notes for a total of 4 times in the down up pattern, and repeating for a total of 2 times to sound like this. And that entire intro will repeat over once again to make a total of 2 bars. I'll run through the whole thing now. For the first bar, I'll go kind of slowly, just so you guys can get a feel of it, kind of get the hang of it. And for the second time, I go full speed. So all in all, the intro will sound like this. Then you'll start singing into the first verse. And that's everything for the intro. And now on to verse 1. So the next part is just the melody that he uses for the first verse. And it's pretty simple. It's just 3 notes that you're going to be repeating for each of the chords. Just to give you an idea of what it sounds like, I'll run through the first bar. So here we go. So for your first chord, so for E flat 6 add 9, you're essentially going to be playing your open E string, so playing your drop C note, and you're going to be alternating that between your second fret on the D string, while also playing an open note on the G string. So slowly it will sound like this. So I'll play that again. And essentially for your E flat 6 add 9 chord, you'll repeat that for a total of 8 times. So essentially you want to hear your high note on your open G 8 times before switching over to the next chord. So all in all, it sounds like this. And then when you switch over to your G minor 11 chord, what you want to do is you want to put your fourth finger on the bass note, so on your E string on the 4th fret. So that will play as your bass note, and you'll play the exact same 2 high notes you played before, but only you'll be playing an open D string and an open G string to sound like this. And you repeat that for a total of 4 times, so half the time you did for your E flat 6 add 9 chord. And then moving on to your F sus4 chord, you will do the exact same things you did for your G minor 11 chord, only your bass note will be on the 2nd fret of the E string, and using the same open G string and D string that you used for your G minor 11 chord, and it will sound like this. And that whole run through will repeat for a total of 2 bars as well for your first verse. So it will sound like this. Wait, no. I'll do the first bar slowly so you guys can get a hang of it, and the second bar I'll do it at full speed. for the final part of the cover, you do the same thing for the intro. So same chord progression. We're using the bass notes and the strumming, but slightly different. It leaves a lot of gap for anticipation in the song. So when you come back on for the first bar, you're going to play your bass notes as normal, but then you're going to count four. So you're going to count 4 times in the time of 6/8 before playing your 4 strumming pattern. So I'll demonstrate for E flat 6 add 9. So it'll sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then for E flat 6 add 9, you do that for a total of 2 times. So again, for the second time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you move on to your G minor 11, in which you do the exact same thing. So you pluck your bass notes and then count 4, but you only do that 1 time, and same for F sus4. So it'll sound like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, and then onto your F sus4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the first half of your part 3 will sound like this: 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. And then for the second bar, you basically go all hands on deck and you just strum 4 times, including all your notes. So you hit your bass note first, but then instead of only strumming your top 3 notes, you strum all of your notes in the same strumming pattern of the down, up, down, up. So it'll sound like this. And that dramatic outro thing I kind of just added by myself, but feel free to add that in as well. Yeah, so in that outro you basically have your slow build up with lots of anticipation and gaps, and then you'll go into a much faster pace to finally go into that climax, that outro that he does into the song. So all in all, your part 3 should sound like this: 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, and into the outro. That's everything for the tutorial, guys. I hope you found it useful. I hope you were able to follow what I was saying and be able to play it for yourself, because it really is a gorgeous tune and it's really quite easy once you get the hang of it. Maybe a few days practice, even less than that, if you're more experienced. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and peace.